Hey, well, we've been on the subject of hot takes. I figured we might as well just keep the ball rolling. Damn. Ultra Peachy Keen. That's just good. While this shit might be a little bit of a hot take, I've been running the numbers. I know I'm a little retarded and it might be fucked up, but I've been doing some math. And instead of repeating what other people say with that they're
very against Japanese sealed product when it comes to investing.
like, people love to just say that English is way more investable than Japanese, which is like what everyone defaults to. So I was like, man, I'm gonna look into this shit and see what's up. I wasn't trying to just go off vibes or how people feel about individual sets, or not even how much greater Japanese cards look than English cards, because we all know that shit's just fact. I wasn't trying to go into arguments over liquidity. I was trying to look at just straight facts, just the numbers, and the results actually kind of surprised me. So for quick context, I've been seeing a lot of people asking or confused about like how the English sets work and how the English sets like differ from the Japanese sets. So a quick little how it's made, if you will. Most English sets are made by combining two Japanese sets. It's usually the same cards, the same artwork, the same chases, but it will combine two Japanese sets, morph them bitches together into one giant English set. So if we're going to compare like English sets to Japanese sets, sometimes it just makes more sense to combine like the average of two Japanese boxes versus the one English box. Same card pool, so it's the same cards from the two Japanese, but it'll be like two Japanese booster boxes versus one English booster box. So I've been looking at the most popular Pokemon set of all time. What is it? No, it's not Prismatic, you dumb bitch. Evolving Skies, yes. So we take the Japanese boxes. So there's two Japanese boxes that make up the English Evolving Skies. There's Eevee Heroes, which has the Moonbryon. It has all the evolutions, all the evolution VMAXs, and then there's Blue Sky Stream. Blue Sky Stream has a Rayquaza, the Rayquaza VMAX, the Dragonite. But for Japanese boxes, typically the MSRP for a booster box is $35 a box. Probably not going to get it at MSRP unless you live in or are visiting Japan. But so for Blue Sky Stream, Japanese booster box, it has 30 packs in it. MSRP is $35, and that bitch is selling for over $700 now, if you didn't know. I'm gonna put the most recent sales from the last few days up on screen, but it's like an average of like $760. Some are like one or two of the most recent sales are like at $1,000 or over $1,000, which is fucking crazy. That's like 21 times the MSRP of the booster box, which is fucking, it's over 2,000%. It's a 2,000% growth. And then for the second box of the set, the second Japanese booster box, the Eevee Heroes, MSRP also $35. Again, I'm gonna put the most recent sales up on the screen. But when I was just looking at it, the average sales is like $650, which is like 17 times MSRP, like 1,700 and some percent. So when you're looking at like the numbers for both boxes combined, like the average growth of both boxes combined, it's like 1,900%, 1,900%. That's insane. For Japanese booster boxes. And if we compare that to the English booster box of Evolving Skies, MSRP is like $160, $150 or whatever whenever it had first came out. Because MSRP was like a little bit lower a couple years ago. So MSRP at $160. It's been fluctuating a lot lately, but the average sales for those is like $2,700, which is also insane. It's like 1,600% growth. But even though it's insane, did you catch that? Only 1,600% growth. So here's what people are going to get pissed off about. So all these English investors are not going to like to hear this. But on the average percentage of the return, Japanese outperformed English. And this is a regular release set. This is regular booster boxes, not a specialty set, not freaking V-Star Universe or Mega Dream or Terrasso Festival. It doesn't come in a little box. These are the big square main set booster boxes. These aren't specialty sets. These are main sets. Because sometimes the Japanese specialty sets do outperform the English sets. It like goes back and forth. But this is a regular release main set. Two main sets for Japanese combined morphed into one giant English set, which is Evolving Skies. And the average of the Japanese of Eevee Heroes and Blue Sky Stream is outperforming Evolving Skies. And yes, before people start bitching in the comments, English is more liquid, it's a bit easier to sell, and that does matter. But these Japanese booster boxes have been selling like hotcakes lately. And I know, like, throughout the history of Pokemon, Japanese kind of goes on like spikes and downtrends on if like the rest of the world is interested in it. This like past year has obviously been like the biggest boom for Pokemon ever, which includes like the biggest boom for Japanese cards and booster boxes as well. And I think it was like Dark Ibex or Black Riot TCG. Shout out to Nick and Brandon. But talking about like how a lot of like the Japanese cards and booster boxes will and have been kind of like making their way back into Japan. And sometimes these booster boxes, like once they make their way back into Japan, they don't come out, and they'll be able to sell for more in Japan than they will have in America, for example. But yeah, English is a little bit more liquid, but liquidity doesn't always mean that it's a better investment, especially when we're talking long term, because the percentage of the growth still matters, especially if you were able to like buy the shit early, buy it at MSRP, because like people are buying the fuck out of Japanese boxes now. I've never seen Americans and people in the UK buying out Japanese boxes like this. Like, I mean, myself, I used to only collect English cards, and I've completely switched from collecting any English cards to only collecting Japanese cards. This whole wall of tag slabs, all Japanese cards, except for this Rayquaza here, just because I like the big Japanese letters more than the English letters that the Japanese like to put on their cards. But I feel like the percentage of growth is at like a bigger factor over liquidity, because like we're seeing Japanese boxes get, like as time goes on, get more and more liquid. We don't know what the liquidity of these boxes are going to look like at 6 months or even like a year down the road. 30th anniversary is coming up. People are going to get like even more into Pokemon. More people are going to be introduced to Japanese boxes. They're getting tired of trying to find English product, not being able to get it, and not wanting to buy it from scalpers. So like not only is Japanese seeing crazy liquidity, but languages, like other languages across the board. Japanese is the best one in my opinion, because the cards look the best and because Pokemon is originally Japanese. But also like Korean Pokemon cards and Chinese Pokemon cards. I never heard a motherfucker talk about Korean Pokemon cards or Chinese bullshit before. But here we are having like serialized Mews from China that are selling for tens of thousands of dollars. It's not all about the English cards anymore. So I also wanted to talk about another example, which yes, it is with Prismatic. Fucking Prismatic. But and Terrasto Festival in Japanese. But Prismatic, this is one of those specialty sets that I was talking about. So the Japanese boxes come in like little like small brick looking rectangles, and the English sets, so the sets are 1-for-1, but the English sets don't have a booster box at all. You just have ETBs and booster bundles and all like the super premium collections and all the other ancillary bullshit that comes along with it to give packs to people, because scalpers and rip and shippers are buying up all the ETBs, ripping the packs out and selling them online. But so for Prismatic in English, it's no booster boxes, so we can't necessarily compare booster box price. But the best product in English to compare to like the Japanese specialty set booster box would be the ETB, the Elite Trainer box, which has 9 packs in it and a promo card with MSRP of $60, and the market price for Prismatic ETB right now is like $125. So it's like 100% growth, like 2 times MSRP. Whereas, and I know that this is a specialty set, and a lot of times the Japanese specialty set will outperform the English. But I just wanted to give another example, because this is a modern example that people can still afford. The booster boxes and shit are all still, the booster boxes and the ETB are all still findable, still within print. But the Terrasto Festival in Japanese, which is a 1-for-1 with Prismatic, on the Japanese side, MSRP is $35 a booster box, and the market right now is like 110, 115 bucks. So that's a 200% growth. Once again, Japanese outperforming the English. And with the Japanese set, you get a guaranteed SAR in the box. You get a guaranteed one of the Master Balls. The cards are better quality. You got a way better chance for gradable copies of the cards you want. And it's a lower entry price. If you could get it at MSRP, which is, it's harder for us Americans to get that shit for MSRP, because like it's in Japan obviously, and they don't sell it for MSRP outside of Japan. But you could have got it. I got Terrasto boxes for MSRP for $35, for 5,500 yen, while I was living in Japan. But bar for bar, Japanese won again. But why is this happening? It ties into like what I was saying earlier. Like obviously the Japanese MSRP is lower. It's only $35. So the upside can be a lot higher. And like depending on how much money you're playing with, you can afford more boxes on release, because it's like a quarter of the price of an English booster box. because a Japanese booster box is like the quarter of a price of an English booster box. Also, the guaranteed hits matter. I feel like a lot of people that don't care about Japanese or don't rip Japanese don't understand, like they don't know how fun it is to open up a Japanese booster box with guaranteed hits in it, which does like lower the price of the individual cards, which in my opinion is another plus. Lower barrier to entry if you didn't want to rip packs. If you just wanted to buy the singular cards, you get way better looking cards for a lower price, and they grade easier. So like, yeah, you have higher pops and like in gem mint 10s for freaking tag 10, PSA 10, whatever bullshit side you want to put it in. But the quality of the cards, that attracts collectors. A lot of times people underestimate the Japanese cards and boxes early because nobody knows like what the pull rates are going to be like. No one knows what the pull rates are going to be like in English, what the quality is going to be like on either set. With Japanese, you don't really have to worry about it because it's always the same shit. It's always great quality. But with the English, you never know when you're going to get a card with a fucking bite mark in it. Nobody QC'd that shit coming out of the factory. Cards might be stolen out already. So like in the beginning, the Japanese booster box and like the singles cards prices will fluctuate a shit ton for like the first like 2 months. Whereas the English, like they come out and in like 2 weeks, they're kind of like settled. But so then people will underestimate Japanese early, and then like English will get like overbought later on. But yeah, Japanese doesn't win every time. It doesn't win a lot of the times. But now that we're seeing this, like EV Heroes and Blue Sky Stream outperforming Evolving Skies, the most popular English set of all time. Like when Japanese wins, that shit wins big. But all this to say, I'm not saying that English is dead or English is dying out or Japanese is always better, because this shit goes in waves. But what I am saying is like people saying that Japanese is uninvestable or that it'll never outperform English, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And they haven't actually looked at the data or actually looked at what's going on in the hobby. The data's the data's the data. The math doesn't fucking support that shit. Japanese is outperforming some English sets. And not even just specialty sets this time. But if my math is wrong or you just think I'm fucking stupid, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you guys have looked into any other sets that this has happened. I only looked at like a few sets and like paid most attention to these 2 sets because they are like the most popular Pokemon sets of all time, Evolving Skies and Prismatic. But if you see another Japanese set that's outperforming the English set, let me know, put it in the comments. Let's see what's up. I gotta dig more into this because I've never really looked too deep into it like this. Like put 2 sets under a microscope like this, but it's interesting. This next year could get interesting depending on how many people keep flooding into the Japanese market, which they should. Japanese cards are just better. That's all I got.